Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Funk, and I make music as AfroDJMac. Today, I have a very special guest. I have Jakob Haq. Jakob Haq is making all kinds of cool videos and music using exclusively iOS devices, right? Is it just iOS or anything portable, right?
Yeah. Anything portable, anything that you can plug batteries into or USB power or something like that, even solar powered. Just anything that would make me, mobile in such a way that I can just pick up my entire studio, which I can when it's in an iPad, and just go away somewhere. And since I travel a lot and stuff like that, I ride a lot of buses and subways and stuff, and I work all the time, and I'm able to do that thanks to the iPad platform and even small synthesizers like Volcas and now the synth and stuff like that. So I pretty much work off iPads and iPhones as a central unit, a central hub for all the music and video making. So all of the content on my YouTube channel has been produced with iOS exclusively or entirely. I don't know how to phrase that, but that's basically how I work, and it's both empowering to be able to do that with portable devices, right? Because you can do this anywhere. If you have a phone, you have a production platform. If you have a smartphone, you cannot come to me and say, I can't do this, I can't do that, I want to start a YouTube channel, I want to start doing this, but I have to buy this and that, and it will cost me $20,000.
Right.
And I'll just say, no, if you have a phone, if you have a smartphone, you have a production platform. You just have to, you can even get some free apps and you can start right there, like I did. So I've been doing this for 4 years now, and that's basically what I do. I produce music and videos on iOS.
Nice. Yeah, I like your attitude of like, there's no excuse anymore. There's no excuse to get started.
I would say, I know it'll sound harsh, but I think it's ridiculous when people say that. Like I cannot do this before putting money into this. And then they sit there with all that equipment. They have a smart pad, they have a smartphone. It might not be an iOS device, but hell, you can do it with Android too. I mean, there are ways of doing it. You just have to find the ways around it. The question is, how much do you want this?
Right.
Do you really want this? Because if you do, you won't be sitting here talking to me about it. You'll be doing it.
Yeah.
and that's what I do. I'm not a genius. If I'm not anything, I'm a genius at hard work, because I do it. That's all you need to do. Like, get it started and then just keep doing it until you're not shitty anymore.
Yeah. That's such a good point, though, because I think this idea of like, I need this certain gear, I need this certain piece of equipment is a big excuse that sounds really legitimate too when you tell it to yourself. Like, yeah, well, I can't really do that yet because and it justifies you not getting to work and avoiding the task in sort of this way that seems sensible to you. But it's a really deep hole. Like, you can cause yourself a lot of trouble because there's always that new thing that's going to come out, and that always is in this line of work, there's no end to what you can add to your signal chain, what new instrument you can pick up. It'll go on forever if you let it.
Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. Like, maybe a lot of people listening now will recognize themselves in this, especially if they're around our age or something. I mean, I started out doing that, like buying everything. I learned along the way, and it didn't sound good, and I was complaining about this and that. I need the compressors to do this and that, and I got the compressors, and I didn't learn how to use them properly, and so I thought I needed to get a more expensive compressor.
Right.
And then I saw how much they cost, and I'm like, okay, I need to start building my own compressors just to get that pure analog sound, because it's too much to buy a new one. And if I want my music to sound, I just kept going through these loopholes. So I was doing everything else but making music and learning about making music and spending a lot of money in it. And I was losing money because anytime you buy something and you sell it, it loses value.
Right.
It loses market value. So you end up like with a lot of equipment, no money and no skills in making music. All you have is gear. And it's not the right way to go. Use the stuff you have. Like, the
Yeah.
stuff you already have. Like, if you need drums, then maybe you should look around at home and see what you can sample at home, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that could be a lot of
Yeah.
fun too. That's a creative adventure. You know,
D-
when I was younger, just starting out with music, I started playing guitar at 14, and I wanted to record. So I found an old tape recorder that was sitting in the attic in my house, and my buddy had a karaoke machine, and we would connect them together and like sort of do these weird multi-track things. And it did sound terrible, but we made a lot of music doing that because we wanted to, and we figured it out. We found a way.
yeah, yeah. You started somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was the same way for me. I kind of started with, well, very very early, of course. I started very early by singing, and I
Mhm.
sounded really shit. My singing voice was shit. It's still shit. It's not as shitty as then, but as soon as I was always looking for something other than the conventional stuff like pianos, guitar, bass, all of
Yeah.
that. And where I lived, there were like a few electronic musicians, right? And they weren't that social. Okay, I understand now why they aren't social people. I'm not social myself. I get it now.
Yeah.
But they weren't social. They weren't helpful at all. They were, in fact, they were real shitheads, I would say. And I would tell them that today if I met them. Like, my God, you were such a shithead, man.
Right.
So they didn't want to help you, and they knew about electronic music and how to make it. And I was so jealous because they were making sounds that sounded nothing like a regular bass, regular drum set. It sounded special, weird, unique, and I wanted in on that.
Yeah.
And so I got like a Commodore 64, and so I
Nice.
learned how to program a bit on that. And that's where it started, right? So I used a tape recorder to record my stuff. It sounded really, really bad.
Mhm.
Everything was recorded in mono. I used really old tapes, so there was leakage from old. So I have like a tape where I've got a track on it, and you can hear the group Kiss in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
over it.
not quite erased. Yeah. That's a
But it
mashup,
started
right?
there.
You started the mashup movement.
Yeah, it was a mashup. It was a weird mix. And sure, that created something really unique.
Yeah.
Having Kiss in the background over with a synth lead on top of it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so they guarded it. Do you think that was like to keep their secrets, or was it just they weren't friendly? Because I think a lot of times people will kind of figure something out and then like feel like it's like their secret weapon or something, and if they let other people do it, then all of a sudden they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, in the case of these people, it could have been a mix. But I've over the years, I'm 40 now, and I've realized something about myself and why I'm not very social. And it's I don't fit well into social. Uh, like socializing at all. I don't like to socialize. I don't like to talk about the weather. I don't like to talk about regular things. I'm very specific with everything I do. So I need to have a certain routine. And being social always breaks with that routine.
Hmm.
Always. Because I make sure that my routine is filled with stuff I have to do. Otherwise, if I sit down and I have like a Swedish fika where you have a coffee and a bun and you sit and talk about nothing,
Uh-huh.
I'll feel I'll be crazy. I'll get crazy after half an hour. I cannot sit still. I cannot concentrate. I need to have like a certain focus, and that focus needs to be like a routine every day. Stuff I can focus on: doing the dishes, going to the toilet,
Yeah.
making that beat, making sounds, making the video. I never have time for anything because I don't give myself time for anything. I don't take time to socialize. I don't go out to eat. I don't do these things. I don't like these things. I
Hmm.
just like being with machines, with my iPads, with my music, with my video making. I like being creative all the time, and
Yeah.
people just don't mix well in that.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's
Well,
kind of hard.
well, it's such a time-consuming thing. All of those things you talk about, there's the learning how to use the equipment, the exploration, the creating things, then the now, and you document everything. It seems so you're real busy with that, and you're in the video world, which is a whole other deep dive. So it requires a lot of dedication, especially at your rate of an output. Where I mean, you've got such an impressive rate. You're always coming up with something new.
Yeah, it's been pretty intense, and I've had to pull down to like a video a week now because I spend more time on them instead, and I try to make my content more valuable to my viewers, more research, a little bit more tech, a bit more history in there. I call it like a docu-tutorial. Sometimes when I review an app, I'll have like a documentary in there. I'll interview someone and I'll talk about the history of something, and then I'll do the tutorial. So it's not just a tutorial. It's not just an interview. It's a show, right? It's the Haq Attaq show.
Right.
So I just want my viewers to be able to. I want them to start a video and like relax and sit there and not have to skip or anything. Just nice flow, and yeah, it's working because my viewer retention time is sometimes as high as 55%, and I've never had that before. I've had like maybe 20 to 35%, and now it's more like 35 to 55% retention time. So my viewer seems to like it.
Well, yeah, and I'm looking just to get the overview of your videos, and most of them are coming in a good 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 25, some of them. So it's not a short video, and I'm so guilty of the like zero attention span when it comes to YouTube videos. I start getting like nervous when I click on a video that's more than 3 minutes.
You're a creative person yourself, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's one of the biggest issues we have. You, me, and Tim Webb, Doug Woods, anyone who does music, we are catering to other musicians, other creative people, and they're critical of everything, just like us, and really hard to keep there, right? So, I mean, we're catering to people who are just like us, which is really, really hard, to make. It's hard to make you musicians to stick around and watch our stuff. It's really, really hard, but that's what's fun about it too. It's a challenge, right?
Right. Yeah, if it was easy, right? What would be the point?
Exactly. I don't know how many times we make stuff harder than it needs to be. I mean, like me, I do stuff on iOS, and in the beginning, I didn't have LumaFusion, a video editing app that I do everything in now. But 2 years ago, I didn't have that. I had to use a combination of 3 apps to get my output. And I did some amazing work with those 3 apps. Same thing with the music apps. I had to jump a lot of hoops. Still have to today. Still have to, but I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get stuff together. Right. It's just
that whole world is definitely a bit of a maze and a puzzle you have to figure out. I'm not sure. On one hand, I think it's getting better as we've got certain things that allow you to connect your apps. You got like the audio units, and you've got audio bus, and you've got that. But then on the other hand, we were talking about this a minute before we started recording. You got the dongle situation now, and all the connection issues that change all of the time with every new update. For me, that's always been a challenge to keep up with.
I mean, if there are people listening now who are like they're considering to jump over to the iOS platform, if anyone asked me today, should I jump over to it completely? I would say no. You should use a combination because it's a good addition to your studio. The iOS platform is a really, really, really strong and powerful addition to your studio. But I'm doing everything 100% on there. The dongle situation is just, it's just. Oh God, can I swear in the stream?
You got it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's a fucking mess. It's a really big fucking mess, and I hate that Apple is just they're like, oh, we're gonna be innovative, and we're gonna remove this stuff we're gonna remove ports, and we're not gonna replace them with anything good or useful. We're gonna replace them with earbuds you have to charge every 6 hours because that's what musicians like to do, charge their headphones, and it's just messy and that's another thing. Like the dongles are expensive. The cables that comes with the phones to charge with are expensive. They break too easily. Yeah. The new phones have no bevel now, and they're just every other company making phones are now starting to copy the bad mistakes of Apple, and they have problems within their phones that are built into them that they know about that they won't fix. And It's just a problem. The iOS platform is a problem because Apple users in general seem to be fine with Apple complaining to the users that the users are doing something wrong with their products. That's basically what I get from it. It's like they have somehow managed to get the users to accept that Apple can tell them that, hey, you're holding your phone wrong if you're losing antenna connection or whatever. You're bending it wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. No, Apple, you're building it wrong. What are you doing? It's just insane that so many users are okay with that. And it's going to keep on making the phones worse and the pads worse. So that's why I wouldn't recommend anyone going completely over to that now. If they want to do that, buy an older device because they're better. They have the ports and everything. It's hard for me now. I've come to a point where I'm starting to think about what I'm doing and what I'm telling people and what I'm recommending here. And I'm getting hampered by the platform now. In the beginning, I was feeling like I was being released. Okay. Like my productivity was released. Now it's starting to get hampered, and it's really bad also whenever a new iOS comes out, it starts breaking stuff like connections to the dongles, connections to apps. It will break certain apps. My video apps have problems every time a new iOS comes out. So I have to wait at least 6 or 7 months before even updating. Yeah. And when I update, I still get errors. And instead of fixing those errors, they will just roll out a new iOS the next year. It's just insane. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. And I can understand your recommendation because you kind of never know what's going to happen next. Because it is a very secretive thing too, where you don't get any information until we're releasing it in a week, and here's what it is. So it's a lot to throw you off.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the only one. I mean, every platform, every hardware developer has problems.
Yeah,
all of them have problems. But I don't. When it comes to Apple, I see its user base behave in a certain way, and I don't see that with Android users. And there are many brands out there. They build in errors in their products and stuff like that. I see that too, but whenever they do something wrong, I see the whole user base just get angry at them. And I don't see that with Apple.
Right.
I don't see that with the same way. I can see someone coming in telling someone else, well, you should have gotten the Apple Care thing then, you stupid. And I can see someone else say like, hey, why didn't you get this under the plan that Apple released last year when they said like, we're going to fix this? I mean, how is that on the user? How is that on the user? I don't understand. They're making the mistakes. They should fix it. They should fix it, not the user. I feel bad for the users. And I don't understand how they managed to do that. Apple managed to do something really special there. They didn't manage it with me, though. I'm starting to take the piss out of them now lately because I'm getting furious with them. Yeah. And if my own viewers come in and listen to this, they're going to be shocked at a lot of the things I've said today because I haven't talked about that openly on my channel yet.
Right.
I don't know when I'm going to do that, but I'm going to have to because I can't hold back this anger I have right now. It's just insane, man. I'm getting so tired and fed up with how they do stuff. Apple, I mean.
It is an interesting phenomenon, the way they've managed to build like a loyal tribe almost, where it's kind of do no wrong, like you said, like in the forums where the other users are kind of justifying what may be a like manufacturing problem or a design issue that really affects like professionals that are trying to use their product in a certain way, where people swoop in and say, no, it's okay because you should have done that. That's a very unusual thing to see with any product or any platform, and as far as I can tell, that strange loyalty.
It definitely is. I mean, I've seen. I mean, if there are connections like I've seen political systems that works like that. I'm not going to talk politics now, but I've seen that behavior. I just haven't seen it with companies that like that. Maybe I have and I've forgotten about it, but this is very unique. And I just want, if you're an Apple user and you're like, oh, you're just absolutely nuts now, Jacob. What the hell are you telling me? Then I'm like, yeah, you know what? I feel sad. I feel sad if you feel like it's your fault that your phone is breaking because Apple built it so you could bend it in a certain way. I feel sorry for you, and I think that Apple should fix it for you. And I don't think you're an idiot for not knowing that they did this or for trusting them. I don't think you're an idiot. So I hope you don't get angry at me. If you're gonna get angry at me, get angry for the right thing, not for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on Apple users. I'm shitting on Apple, and I think it's up to Apple to fix their own shit. Get your shit together, Apple. Jesus.
Well,
Right.
you see those parallels with, like you said, politics, where it doesn't matter what one party does if you're on that side, but as soon as the other party does it, it's like crying foul. And it's like a sport team. Like if the referee makes a bad call in your favor, you're like, yeah, well, that's what the call is. But if it's the other way around, it's like, what? This isn't fair. And there's not a two-way kind of understanding of the different perspectives. And that's,
I know.
I think you point out it's a dangerous thing, though, because it gives permission to, whether it's a company like Apple or a sports team or a political party, it gives them permission to kind of break the rules and go against what might be in our best interests.
Yeah, I've thought about this, and the thing is, this is the thing. Like, my phone is starting to get bad now. Like, the battery is going bad, and I already know what's gonna happen if I go to an Apple store and ask them to fix. I know what's gonna happen with my iPhone 6s. I've already seen all of the comments from within my region here in Sweden. What people say that Apple told them. That this cannot be done or that cannot, and you should have done this and that. I've already seen that. I'm not gonna go that route. My next phone is gonna be an Android phone.
Really?
It's gonna be an Android phone. Absolutely. An Android phone with the headphone jack. Because I just cannot buy an iPhone without a headphone jack. I use the headphone jack every day for so many different things. I need that. That's one of the things. And the next thing is that I just don't wanna give them my money when they're doing things I can't condone that. I can't.
Yeah.
And I had like an argument with a guy, a developer online. He's a developer. He's been a developer for Apple products for many years. Okay, for Mac and iOS. And he got angry at me because I made this animation video. It's called "Apple Loves Your Money." If you haven't seen it, Brian, you really should go watch it.
Yeah,
you should go watch. Anyone listening, go watch my "Apple Loves Your Money" video. That's basically my thoughts about Apple and how they do things.
We'll
summed up in.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, so he got angry with me because he's like, "Oh, you're shitting on Apple and you're threatening going over to Android and you're doing the video on an Apple device. You're stupid." And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "If you don't like it, don't use it." And I'm like, "But if you don't criticize stuff, then stuff are gonna keep on being what they are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling me to shut up." And then he said, "Okay, then don't give them money." And I'm like, arguing with him, telling him that that's not the only way. But I agree with him now. So if he's listening, I agree with you. I shouldn't be giving them money if I think they're doing this wrong. I should tell them that I think they're doing it wrong and not give them my money. So my next phone is going to be an Android phone. Absolutely. I'll keep the pads as Apple for now. For now.
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking like a big change in your whole workflow. I imagine the phone is a big part of your process, right? The past 2 years, I have only been using the phone to test apps and record video with. So I record video with it, but I don't produce with the phone anymore when it comes to music. Okay.
I'll record my video and then I'll do the productions on the iPad now.
Is there any reason for that, or is it just easier on the bigger screen?
Yeah, it's easier on the bigger screen, and also my iPhone has always been like 16 gigabytes. Okay, so that's the limitation I've been working with for all of these years since I got my first iPhone. My first iPhone was a 5, the small one, and that was 16 gigs. And the second one was the iPhone 6s, and that's also 16 gigs because I couldn't afford buying a bigger one.
Right.
And it's been a real hassle because when you're recording videos, you need to be quick about everything, right?
Yeah.
Because the memory will fill up quickly, which is another thing. Suddenly you run out of hard drive space quicker than you calculated. Why? Well, it turns out that Apple just decided to download their latest iOS in the background and fill your flash drive up with that first. So your video goes out the drain and they won't tell you about it. And the only way you can stop that is by going into your router, blocking the address where the file comes from. You cannot stop that download otherwise. That's how you have to do it. You have to modify your router to stop it.
Wow.
You see what I mean with
it's the forcing you into a corner type of thing.
It's just insane. Like, Brian, I think can we change the subject?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I just feel like
we don't.
This is so. It's getting me angry.
Yeah,
it's just insane.
Okay.
I mean, I do have fun producing too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's definitely a consideration with it. For me, my iPad and iPhone have made limited entrances into my music making because of a lot of these issues, a lot of the connectivity. I think there's been a few things that have come along recently that have made it a lot better and easier for me. But yeah, like it is part of the questioning I wanted to run by you, just because you are 100% in there, which is, I think, a feat of its own. And there were a couple things I wanted to ask you, and you hit on a lot of those. So yeah, we could change the subject. I think it's important though for people to hear that you really do love what's going on. You're loving the apps that are coming out. The developers are doing great work, and to hear that someone like you, who maybe at first glance someone might think is a fanboy or just totally loyal to this one particular platform, you do have your issues and you do speak up about it. You want to say something because it's threatening your ability to get your job done. Yeah, I appreciate that honesty though.
Yeah, I listened to the thing you did with Tim Webb, okay? Yeah. Which is, I gotta say, one of my most favorite blogs out there. And Tim is just, oh, what an amazing fucking dude he is.
He's real too. He's not pulling any punches, and he'll let you know so you can trust him.
Yeah, that's why I love the dude. Yeah. I love him, and I'm pretty much the same as he is. I mean, he posts about iOS related stuff, and the guy hates Apple.
I was surprised when he said that.
Yeah, a lot of people would be surprised, and I don't think. I mean, I try to get a lot of my viewers and a lot of my followers to listen to that pod. I don't know how many did, but I don't think that most of them, like most of the people watching our videos, know exactly how we feel about this and why we feel the way about this. It's because we're using it so damn much. Mm-hmm. We're using it all the time, and so we know all of the issues. And I've been a PC user before that and a Mac user in the studios, and I've also used Android before. I used to own Android before iOS. And I used to own an Android phone before I got an iPhone, and so I've used all of these things. And I don't love a company doing these things. I love what I can do with them. Yeah. And if anyone does something wrong, I'm not going to defend it. Why am I going to defend it? I don't want them to do that thing. You know, it's yeah. I just got to say that Tim Webb, he has been instrumental in my success. Mm. Instrumental because back in the day, I could check the stats on my videos, and about 60% of my views, like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, came from Tim Webb.
Wow.
Came from Tim Webb. And today it's still pretty high number. And Tim, he basically has posted almost every one of my videos on his blog.
That's incredible.
And that's unheard of for me before, unless you work together with someone. I mean, I used to work with Doug Woods and Colin Swinney on the sound test room, and John Rawlinson, and of course, all of my videos get posted there because we work together. But with this guy, Tim has just been instrumental in helping me doing that. He deserves such a big shout out.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
can never repay him for what he's done. It's just he's amazing.
Yeah, he's been great for me too. Posting any work I ever do that's even remotely related to iOS. But aside from that, just keeping me up to date on what's cool and what's happening, because it's hard to follow all the new stuff coming out. And I also know, like, he'll be straight up with me and tell me this is a piece of shit app. Don't buy it. It's not worth it. But it's out. Here you go. Make up your own mind. But I respect his opinion for that quite a bit, because I know I'm not going to be just reading like promotional materials.
I was afraid. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was afraid in the beginning, when I started making my videos of just so in the beginning, if I found an app I didn't like and I couldn't use because it was broken in some way, instead of just making a vitriolic video screaming about it.
Yeah.
And I do recognize that not everyone makes vitriolic videos when they're criticizing something, but a lot of YouTube videos can be very vitriolic. And I didn't want to make that content. I wanted to have like a positive thing, going on. But there's a point, there comes a point where you're just like, no, I'm not taking this anymore. So I kind of, I just let myself go a little bit with that. And I started saying what I thought. And then I made that Apple Loves You Money video. And after that, I just feel comfortable saying exactly what I think about stuff now.
Can I ask you one question on this topic, and then we'll get out of it?
Sure.
Because I didn't get to ask Tim this, because it happened like a week later. But the announcement that Apple's affiliate program with the links to to apps. So I know I've put them up myself, and I don't get much off of it because I'm not really focused too much on the iOS app world. It comes up occasionally, but I know people like Tim really have centered their business model around receiving affiliate cuts and it's not an extra payment. So you click on his link and you send a piece of Apple's profit to Tim, so it's no extra, and it doesn't take away from the developer or anything. But they have now announced, I think it's coming up real soon, that they're ending that. Is it this month or next month? It has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it hit a lot of us pretty hard.
Yeah, I would have to imagine.
And the thing is, like, people will say like, hey, well, the gravy train is over. And stuff like I've seen so many comments like that,
Sure.
It's as if, how do you say it? Like, I wasn't hit as hard as Doug Woods or Tim Webb, or App Shopper, for instance. App Shopper is like all of the income come from showing apps on a page. Yeah. So there are more sites like that, but so I wasn't hit as hard, but damn, it was a hard hit for me. And of course, it's Apple's prerogative. They can do that. It's their money. They can choose to do that, right? They didn't do it with books or anything else. They did it with apps, and because they want all the money. They just become a $1 trillion company because they got shitty business practices and they like screwing with people and telling people they're doing stuff wrong. And when they saw that there were money in apps, and they're like, hey, how can we grab some of this money? And they found a way of doing it. And again, they're like, hey, we have a new great way of showing apps on the App Store. And then they don't tell you what that way is. And what I think is they're going to have people pay for getting, spots on the front page, which means that if you have a lot of money, your app doesn't have to be good. But you have a lot of money and you're making a shitty clicker, then your app will be up there. It's going to be harder. It's going to be harder to find good stuff. And also a lot of incentive for a lot of people doing this thing, making money through this affiliate program, making videos and blogs and reviews. I mean, some of them has disappeared in the past because of money issues. I've had to rethink my situation every year, the past 3 years now, if I'm going to continue, because this is a full-time job. If anyone believes anything else, you're fucking wrong. You're fucking wrong. This is a full-time job, and I spend more than a full-time on this. Full time is usually calculated between 8 and 9 hours. Believe me, I spend much more than that every day. It's not 5 days a week, it's 7 days a week. It's been like that for all these years. And whenever summer comes, I've had to have a regular job, as people say. But this is a fucking regular job when you're doing a job and you're getting paid and stuff like that. And I've had like they say, a regular job where I go out and I do gardening and stuff like that. And then you have 2 jobs,
Yeah.
which is exhausting. And it goes out over your videos. And I can go back and see that some of those videos weren't that good because I made so many mistakes in there. I said so many things wrong. Not only because I'm Swedish and I speak broken English, but because I get stuff wrong. And it's just horrible. And now they do this, which they can, it's their right. They didn't have to, though. They're already making all the money. They didn't fucking have to do that. I hate them for it. And people thinking that we were on a gravy train, go start a channel, go start making the videos and do it at least for 8 hours a day. Do that. And then ask people to sponsor you and see how it goes. It's hard work and people don't have to sponsor you. And you're going to be working for free for a long time. A lot of us has, in the past. But as soon as it becomes a job, it's a job. A job is a job. It's something you do all the time. It's something you plan for, you get skills for, you have to get better with. And the skills I'm using today to produce all those videos has taken my whole life to accumulate, right? Yeah, it's a hard thing, getting people to recognize that YouTube can be a job.
Yeah. Well, let me first say that I think you speak wonderful English. You used vitriolic, so I mean that's a $10 word right there. Never been an issue for me. As an English teacher, I teach high school English, so as for me, never.
Oh,
okay.
So
if that means anything, I think there's a huge misconception about this idea of like the YouTuber, like on the gravy train, the riches are just coming in, nonstop. That's obviously. As somebody that plays around with YouTube videos, it's not the case. And it's a lot of work, as you say. It's a ton of work. And I think a real problem with this Apple thing with the links, the affiliate links, is that there's no other option. So you cannot buy your apps anywhere else but the App Store, which they take a third of every purchase. And now, what is the incentive for people to create videos, to create material showing that there's this cool stuff? Because we're in a pretty small niche of the app world in the music production. And it's not the first thing you see every time you open the App Store. It's always some game that I don't care about and some other thing that doesn't matter to me. I don't see unless it's a breakthrough synth that's really making waves in the world of technology. Synth One was an example that comes to mind recently where that got on the front page of the App Store. But that doesn't happen ever, really, if you consider the breadth of the material coming out. So it's so important if we want to continue to see such interesting developments from the developers to make these apps. If there's no one promoting it, no one sharing it, and no incentive to do so, then what's the point in developing them? What's the point in putting in this time to create something innovative if it's just going to disappear into the noise of just, of millions of apps that have there's no incentive to promote or talk about?
Yeah, when you're doing something as a job, passion will only take you so far.
Yeah.
Passion will only take you so far. I've dabbled with, I say dabble, but it's been, varying from the amateur stuff to the professional stuff, and it's pretty much been like an on and off job my whole life. And passion has gotten me into it. Passion reminds me why I'm doing it, but passion doesn't drive me to do it. So I kind of started the channel because there were people out there wanting to know how to do stuff, okay? I sit on the information. I want to help people out. I want to help people out. I want to do something for them because, as I told you in the beginning, people did not want to help me understand how to do electronic music. They did not want to help me understand synthesis. They weren't social. They were downright shitheads and assholes towards me. And I do not, if I can ease that for someone else, you see what I mean? If I can ease that for someone else with a 5-minute video or a 15-minute video or 10-minute video, then I want to do that. And that's why I started doing it, right? Mm-hmm. The problem was that it became a job because it took all of my time to do. And it took so much time that it became like a daily thing. You wake up, I grab my iPhone and I start checking emails and I start responding to comments, helping people. And then next I have to plan for my video and I have to do the research and stuff like that. And I realized that when it's gone like 16 hours of that day, I realized I'm still doing this. And now I have to consider bed here. Yeah. And I keep doing that week after week, every day. I realize after a year, it's a job. It's a job. And now I have to consider how I'm going to make a living on it, right? Mm-hmm. So I started looking at the ads for YouTube and Google, and they've made that even harder now for smaller channels. I started looking at other ways to get stuff in, money through Patreon, through PayPal, through the affiliate thing. And suddenly I realized that if I work hard enough for a few more years, then this can pay out. It's gone a few more years, and what's happened is one of the revenue streams has gone away now. And I'm still not at a point where I can survive on this. And so it can't be a full-time job anymore. And so all of the output has to decrease. Right. And it has. And so I have to search for jobs in between. And I have to job hunt and stuff like that. I can't focus on Haq Attaq at the same rate anymore. I can't. I haven't been for the past 8 months or something like that, I think. And I've managed to do some deals with some companies, showing their products at some like fairs and stuff like that. Right. Some of it I can talk about, some of it I can't talk about. I haven't taken any payments for making videos on my channel. I've never done that. I've made videos for developers, but all of those videos are always on other channels because I wanted to keep the content I produce on my channel. I wanted to keep it to my opinion and what I think.
It's pure that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I have to consider doing deals and doing sponsorship. Now I do. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to break that to my audience. Maybe they'll hate me for it. I've already started doing a few mid-roll ads in some of my longer videos. When they've been up like a week, I'll go in there, 5 minutes in, I'll put a mid-roll ad in there just to try to increase. But it doesn't. I mean, not that much. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard. Mm. The incentive for me right now is the people, okay? The people watching, the people commenting, the people telling me that they've been helped. Basically. So you viewers out there, you're my biggest incentive because Apple just fucked us over and I'm not making enough to make a living out of this. And it's hard. It's hard to struggle like this. So I'll try to keep on for as long as I can, and I'll try to find other ways of earning money so I can pay my rent every day. Have my electrical, right. Have my I need electricity to do my stuff, right? Sure. So I need to pay my electrical bill and stuff like that. So I need to find revenue streams in, and doing jobs for companies here and there. That's kind of worked. Yeah. So I don't know what incentive it would be for other, sure, developers and stuff like that. I mean, developers. I feel like I've talked for a long time. Maybe you could interject here, say something.
Okay. Well, your output is still pretty solid. Again, like according to your channel, in the last 2 months, there's like 12 videos, 14, 15 videos, which is great. Considering all of that work and the extra and all that energy it takes to put into it. Maybe I can talk to you a little bit about like how do you maintain that level of like commitment? The workflow, the work ethic, you said earlier, that's one of your strengths. your work ethic. I think you said I'm not a genius, but I have a crazy work ethic, something along those lines. Because this is stuff that applies to everything, right? This isn't just making music. This isn't just doing a job. This is having relationships. This is every single thing in your life has some element of work ethic. And I'm always interested in trying to find tips from people that are doing such a good job with that.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, let's see, what's the English word for it? Procrastinate.
Yeah, putting things off.
Say the word so I can hear it.
Procrastinate.
That P word.
Procrastinate. It's funny it has pro. Pro makes it sound good.
It's procrastinate?
Yes.
Why is it so hard to say that? Okay. Well, that's the thing. When you're doing that, and oh God, it's something I have a tendency to do. I've had a tendency to do up to 4 years ago when I started making Haq Attaq. Because if I do that, if I procrastinate, I'm not getting anything done. Okay? So I used to be like that. I'm gonna do this. I'll tell my significant other, like, hey, I want to do this video about that. And then I'll say, like, hey, I'll start it tomorrow. No, I need to start it now. Now is when I got the idea. I need to start now. If I can, I need to start now. Get it going. Because as soon as you get going, you know, it's easier to keep going when you start. If you don't start, you can never get going. That's the thing. You need to get the ball rolling. And usually when you do these things, you're always rolling your ball uphill. It's never going to go downhill. Yeah. You're going to walk uphill for the rest of your life when you do this. It's always going to be hard. It might flatten out because your skills are going to get better. But the thing is, you're going to raise that bar again. You're going to raise that little mountain. You're going to raise that hill, because as soon as you get quicker at doing something, that means you have now time to do something else you wanted to do. So you add that, and suddenly your hill is at the same slope again, and you're still pushing that same weight up the same type of slope. But you have to keep going, and you cannot start going unless you start going. You need to start. Don't say I'll do it tomorrow. Don't say I'll read the book someday. Don't say I'm gonna learn how to sing someday. Don't do that. Just start doing it.
Yeah.
Just start doing it. It's going to be hard in the beginning. And for me, that's what it is. And I haven't been able to do that by myself. I'm serious. I don't have the ability to do that by myself. I always have to do it because there's something else needs to be involved. Okay. Something else needs to be involved. And in my case, being able to go on with my channel, making content, is because I'm not doing the content for me. I'm doing it for the viewers. I want to help the viewers out. I want to show them how this works. I want to show them if this is good. I want to play these sounds for them so that they can deem it, so they can know if something is good or not. I want to explain these concepts for them. So there's always someone else that I'm thinking about. That's how I'm doing it. Right. I can't do it for myself. Whenever I wanted to do stuff for myself, everything has gone to shit. I'm a sober alcoholic and drug addict since 4 years ago. Since when I started Haq Attaq, I'm able to do Haq Attaq because all the time I spent on drinking and doing drugs, I am now spending on doing this, and I can now tell my ego to shut the fuck up, and I can listen to other people. I can take advice from other people. I can listen to other people's question I listen to hear their question, to understand their question. I don't listen just to respond. I don't listen just to give them my opinion. I listen to hear what the issue is. And that's another thing you need to be able to do when you want to do tutorials. You need to understand what people are having a hard time understanding and stuff like that, yeah? So don't procrastinate. Just go out there, get it done, and make sure you do it for someone else, because, oh God, that's fuel for you. That's real fuel for you. You know, when you know you're going to make someone else happy, you do things for yourself, it's going to turn into shit. Trust me.
Yeah. And I think doing things for other people winds up being doing something for yourself. It gives you some sort of gratification and satisfaction knowing that you can help. You know, it's always nice to feel useful. Um, you make me think of two things that are unrelated but related. um, I can, so I, in my family, it's probably like in so many other families. My grandmother is such a sweet, nice lady. At 85 right now, turning 86. But one thing that people will often do is like, oh, don't worry about it, Grandma. You don't have to do this. We'll take care of you because, you don't want to stress her out, Um, and I kind of like realized at one point that maybe I should let her, make me soup and bring it over if I'm sick. I don't want to put her out. I don't want to make her go out of her way, but she wants to do it. And it would be nice, It'd be nice to have that soup come over when you're not feeling good. And that like if you take away like a person's usefulness, I think that's a real damaging thing. And this is kind of long tangent, I guess I'm saying here, but
No, I would agree with you 100%, man. I mean, feeling useful is one of the most important things in life. When you don't feel useful, I mean, I know, yeah, if we're gonna get deep, like there are people out there who are living in a relationship of abuse, but some way they feel useful. They feel like they can change a person. They feel like they
yeah.
can do this and that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you can live through a lot when you feel useful, and if you don't feel useful, bad things will happen. A lot of bad things happen, and I've had I've had friends that are no longer here today because they killed themselves in various ways, inadvertently, like or just went out and killed themselves because something in them made them feel useless. Like
Right.
something in them made them feel like they didn't want to exist anymore, like they had nothing, and that feeling is just awful. So I try to let people do stuff for me, even though I sometimes don't want to. Like what you said with your grandmother, my mom, she wants to celebrate my birthday, and I couldn't give. I don't want to put this in a wrong way. I love my mother, and I give a fuck about my mother. I do.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about birthdays. I don't give a fuck about Easter or Christmas or anything like that. It's just another day. It's a day where I have my routine and where I do my stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter what day or month it is. It doesn't matter what planet I'm on now. I almost said. As long as it has an atmosphere I can breathe, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a day is just a day. But she wants to give me stuff, you know? She wants to give me stuff. She wants to send stuff and things like that. And I've battled her so many times in the past. I'm like almost yelling at her, like, "Why do you fucking do this? I don't need you to perform a commercial act for me to understand you love me. Just send me an SMS saying, 'Hey, happy birthday, idiot. I love you. You're my son.'" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I love you too. Yeah." But she wants to do that.
Yeah.
That's how she want to show affection for me. So I shouldn't be battling her. I should just say, "Hey, mom, thanks for the package. It was really nice." I know. She just wants to be there as my mom because she's my mom. I mean, she
Yeah.
wants to feel like my mom. She wants to feel like she's useful and relevant in my life. And I feel so sad that I've like yelled at her before for doing that. That's stupid. That's sick. Yeah. Sorry, mom, if you're listening. You can send me whatever you want.
Yeah, it is an important thing to have that, and I think that's a great way that you use to have your to avoid your procrastination by having this motivation that's not just you, because it is very easy to justify putting things off when it's just for you. I could do that for myself later, but when there's someone else on the other end, yeah, that's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if someone is waiting for you, or if someone is like expecting something from you, or they're depending on you in some way, right? It gets harder not doing that thing you need to do. So you need to create that for yourself. If you don't have anyone, I mean, when you start a YouTube channel, you don't have that. You don't. Yeah, you'll get some followers, and I do have a few followers from the old days that are still here today. They're
Nice.
still here, still going strong,
Yeah.
still commenting. And you know I love you. I love all of you. But in the beginning, most of the time, you don't have that. You don't have that, doing it for someone. You have to find a drive. So what I did was I went to the forums, I looked up some topics, and I saw that a few people had the same issues. And a lot of people tried to explain it to them, but they didn't do, I don't want to say this, but they didn't do a good job. Or if you put all of these different posts on these different forums and everything together, you got one good reply,
Right.
basically. So I wanted to find a way of doing that reply, in a good way, so I could help. And so that was my focus, trying to do the best job I could at explaining something. But very quickly, I began feeling like, to procrastinate, basically. I was putting stuff off, and then I saw comments from people like, hey, can your next video be this and that? And then I'm like, yeah, sure, I could do that. Suddenly I had a purpose, yeah? So, yeah, it's so important. It's so important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this today, because I'm not making enough money to live on this. I don't, no matter what people believe. I don't. It's not even close. It's not even close. And I've done this for 4 years. I've got 15,000 subscribers. I just passed 2 million views on the channel. It's not one of those super popular where I'm doing politically charged videos or vitriolic charged videos or unboxings. I don't do that. It's a very specific niche, very specific. And we're a small group, a strong group, I would say, really big, strong group. We're pretty powerful being so small. Even within the music industry, we're small.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're not going to make millions of dollars. That's, oh, God. I couldn't even make that if I did this in 10 years.
Yeah.
Not possible. So,
Yeah, because the specificity, the specificness, what is the word there I'm looking for? But
yes, specificity. I like that.
Of the audience is, yeah, it's the numbers. I just don't know if they're there for that kind of glory where you're going to be one of those top people. But that's cool advice to find the meaning. And I can relate to that because there are definitely things I've done that were inspired by something maybe somebody said or a request or maybe an issue that came up while I was teaching. And then there's like a little fire in my desire to do that video or to do that post or to make that instrument because, yeah, there's someone waiting for it. So let's make something nice for them. Let's do it good. And that feels great. And then for me, like I do a lot of sound design stuff, so I just love it when people send me a song they made with the sounds that I made for them. And I'm sure you've had that experience too, because you do some preset design and some apps. And how cool is that when, that comes back to you and you know that like, wow, you had a little hand in that. You were on some level a minor collaborator.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's happened a few times over the years, more than a few times, and it's amazing every time. It's amazing every time, and I don't. Whenever it happens, I don't have words for it. Like I can only say like thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to show my appreciation for people doing that because it's the highest form of affection. Someone can do sampling your stuff. Is there any other way of showing love for someone? Sampling your stuff? Come on.
Right.
I mean, that's highest form of affection. Absolutely. I love it. And I'm all for it, sample away. Sample away. Oh, but yeah, by the way, I just got a notice from YouTube. They took down one of my videos. It's the first strike I've ever gotten because it was a video about me showing how the title is How to Rip YouTube Audio of My Videos.
Oh.
Okay. So they basically said that I was breaking their TOS, their terms of service, which is correct. Yes, I was basically breaking their terms of service. I was showing people how to record audio off of YouTube for my videos specifically, of course. But of course, you could
be applied.
And so I can't do anything else but to accept that strike. But it's the first time I've ever had a strike on my channel, and it's basically for me showing someone showing a lot of people how to do something everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
I many times sample my own stuff like that because sometimes I don't save. I have a limited hard drive space. Yeah, so I have to like delete stuff. Like every video gets deleted when it's done. So I sometimes have to go back and get video footage and stuff, and I'll do some screen recordings of my YouTube videos and record some stuff. And how did we end up in here? How did we end up on this tangent? Why did I? What
Who
were we
knows?
talking about?
That's the fun of the show. We just let it go. Well, we were talking about other people and working and helping out. I think you kind of bring up an interesting point, though, that I think is related to some of the things we've gotten to. That in our adventure of trying to make, a living doing what we love, making music, we have to rely on a lot of other platforms, a lot of other companies, a lot of other infrastructure that's already been set up, such as Apple's affiliates, for instance, which we just talked about, but YouTube also. So you are fulfilling a need. I mean, how many times have I heard that, how do I sample off of YouTube question? I couldn't even tell you. So that's the needs people have. But it just kind of goes to show, too, that like we are all vulnerable where we work hard to build our audience within these different platforms, and it can very easily be changed, such as if you take Facebook, for instance, charging to reach your followers, or YouTube taking down a video, or now, YouTube is making some direction with the, the subscriptions that they're trying to do, the ad-free stuff, so who knows where that'll take us down the line. I guess,
Yeah,
I don't know what my question is there.
Yeah, I have a feeling
that
in the end, I have a feeling that YouTube is going to do the same thing with the ad revenue as Apple did with their affiliate thing. I mean, all of these companies want all of the money. The problem with businesses, as soon as they have stockholders, you have to make money grow just for the sake of the money, right?
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you made the same amount of good fucking bullshit money one year and you make that the next year. If you make the same amount the next year, it's a failure.
Right.
How the fuck is that a failure when you go making a profit? But that's the problem when you're having shareholders. Shareholders aren't people who are concerned with the video platform itself.
Right.
They're concerned with making money. Same with any type of business. Any type of business that grows too quickly will end up like this. And we're gonna, like, in the end, it wouldn't surprise me in like 10 years, we're paying YouTube to get our videos up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't see this ending good, And that's why I am also looking at other ways of getting away from YouTube. I've been looking into doing like counseling. Yeah, not counseling. What do you call it?
Consulting?
Consulting, thank you. Consultant work, and also works like doing courses for during evenings and middays for music making and stuff like that. And I've already gotten some agreements with the commune here in Stockholm and stuff like that. So I don't see a very long-lived future doing this, because I see companies for what they are. They're companies. And if they are like a stock holding company, if they have stocks and stuff, they need to focus on the money. And when you do that, other things are gonna fall apart. Look at the gaming industry. I don't know if you game that much, but I do a lot of gaming. And I can't buy a new game today. I can't, because it's full of in-app purchasers that aren't, they're either game breaking, or they've made the games in such a way so that there's so much grind that you in the end want to spend extra cash in a store. There are two big gaming companies that grew with $70 billion from the last year to this year. And that bullshit money comes from in-app purchases. We're seeing more and more schemes like type of business deal being done with apps. We've already had like a lot of in-app purchases with apps. When it comes to games, that just breaks the game. They put up these paywalls, so you're doing a little bit of mining, and suddenly you have to wait 7 minutes to do more mining. What? Or you could pay $5 to get that wall away. And then when you keep on going in the game, suddenly you have to wait a day to do some mining, and like stuff like that. I don't see that happening in music apps anytime soon. Not that type of paywall, but I've already seen a lot of subscriptions and stuff like that. I'm not too fond of it. I'd rather just pay an upfront price for an app. And even for an upgrade of an app, I'll pay an upfront price. I don't want to do the subscriptions.
Right.
I don't want to have 300 subscriptions every month. So because I do use a lot of apps. So I don't know. I don't think that this is gonna be able to, if you're a bigger channel, then maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the change they did last year, YouTube, when they made it harder for small channels to even get in on the ad program, right? And so to start a channel for the money, you don't do that when you're that small. And the thing is, if you are that small and you want to grow big, you're going to have to focus on topics where you're going to get views. And a lot of those videos are... I wouldn't say that they're good. I wouldn't say that
They're pandering a little bit.
They're pandering a little bit, and they're not that thought through, and they might be very vitriolic or maybe not. I don't know, but yeah, it's the genuine videos made by people who have a passion, wanting to do stuff properly, they're gonna thin out and go away. That's what I think. People like me won't be able to sustain themselves on the platform for too long, I don't think.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes if we're in this like golden age of sharing things for free and putting out everyone's voice. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's hard to say, but I think you do raise a good point that the inherent nature of a publicly traded corporation or company is to always raise the profit. And as you said, even maintaining that is just not, that's a failure. And I don't know. I don't know if that makes it easier once they kind of hit that point and they get too stupid big where they ruin it, that it opens up the door for other people to come in then and change something in a new platform. But at the same time, I think I think like when you look at social media, for instance, in the early days, there were all these new platforms constantly coming up, and I think like the MySpace days even. I mean, I was big into that with music at that time. It was a great way to share your music, but that crapped out in a couple years too. I think Facebook's been kind of like the king for much longer than that. And I just wonder if as we buy into it more and more, people don't want to leave and start a new one and learn a whole new one and build it up again. And if that in some way allows them to just make it kind of crappier and crappier for us, because we'll put up with it because we don't want to change.
Yeah, that's definitely one way of seeing it, and I would agree with that. Because I mean, how much of society, the society we have today, how much of it has been developed with like accessibility and ease of use in mind? I mean, it's easier going on a trip from like around the world now. You can just easily fly somewhere, go back 200 years, try to get from Australia to Sweden, or from the US to Europe. I mean, it was a hassle, right? Today you take a flight. Calling someone, having these conversations in real time that you and I are having right now is pretty damn insane, man.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I would have had to send someone running to you basically with a letter, and made sure that everything was spelled correctly and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just we make our society such a way. We want to have stuff being easier. We want to have everything accessible. We want to have everything now. We don't have the patience to wait for it anymore. We're putting up with stuff all the time, just because it's still simple for us to use. So it's still very simple to connect to someone through Facebook. It's still very simple to use YouTube, and everyone is on YouTube. Believe me, I want to have another platform, and I've been looking at other platforms. There was recently a woman who started a new platform. It's so new, I haven't found any reviews of it. A guy told me on Twitter like last week, so I'll be able to find that tweet if I look it up. But it's a channel basically. A woman started because she was being censored on YouTube. Censored, I wouldn't say censored, but basically they won't let you run ads on your videos if you have topics that they don't like. So I wouldn't say censor, because that's a very strong thing, right?
Yeah.
They're still allowed to say what they want. They just can't earn money from it.
Right.
So it's a halfway censor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they want you to do family entertaining stuff. I'm just going to check here. Because I want to say the name out for that channel so that people can go check it out. The problem with that thing is that the first thing I found there was a lot of half nude stuff. Okay. And I felt like maybe I don't want my content to be connected to that. Maybe I don't want people to screenshot my channel and they have like recommended tabs. And since there are so few channels, among the recommended tabs, there's going to be like a naked butt on the side there and a pair of or tits and maybe someone flailing their jiggly-maloo around or something. Yeah, so I don't want to have that connection right now.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you can monetize on that platform. You don't have to worry about censorship. It will still show ads. That's why she started it. And I've seen like a few platforms like this start over and over, but they never really take off because YouTube is easy. Right. It's easy to get into. It's always there. It's there through your Android device, through your smartphones and your pads, and anywhere you can use it, anywhere, all over the world, and everyone is there. Everyone is there. Everyone knows about YouTube. Why go pay for what's that other site called?
Vimeo, maybe. Vimeo.
Yeah, Vimeo. Yeah. Why go pay for Vimeo when you can do YouTube for free? It's like, I get it. But unless we stop using the platform and tell them that, hey, you need to fix this, they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's a weird thing because it is a free service, and it's not free to run. It must be incredibly expensive to run YouTube. So there's got to be money coming somewhere. And then in order to make that money, there has to be some kind of, I guess it just brings us back to the old paradigm of like television where, advertisers are not going to put their material on a TV show that might be a bad association for them. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at the adpocalypse, as it's called somewhere. Yeah. So YouTube basically wanted to pander to ad people, like people selling, like buying ad space by cleaning up YouTube. And it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Without mentioning channels now, I've seen channels that clearly are breaking the TOS even, shouldn't even be allowed to do what they do on their channels. And they have no problem, being monetized. They swear in their videos. They have no problem being monetized. All of these things, that were supposed to be stopped in the adpocalypse. Like, you cannot swear, you cannot show your tits, you cannot do this and that, you cannot break these rules. I see loads of channels that do this on a daily basis, and they don't have any problems. They earn their revenue, they earn their money, they're still up there, they're not getting flagged, they're not getting taken down. Just because they're probably very, very big, because they usually are very big channels, and they make a lot of money for YouTube. So it's just a really unfair situation, and YouTube it's not even upholding their own rules. I told you my video was taken down because I was breaking the TOS. I was breaking the TOS. Even though I think it's okay to show someone how to rip my audio off, because I want people to sample my stuff. I'm very clear with that. But okay, I was breaking the rules. But when I do a search for the same thing, the same type of videos,
I find thousands of them, some of them being 10 years old. Why am I being hit? Why is my video being taken down? I don't understand. What the hell, YouTube? It's, oh God, the rules aren't being followed. You don't really know what's going to happen. It's the unsafest employer you could ever have, unless you were working for someone, maybe a guerrilla, like in guerrilla warfare. That would be unfair or unsafe. Or if you were working for maybe ISIS or some other group, some other crazy group of people, or maybe a group of Nazis trying to create their own little utopia somewhere. I mean,
Sure, gotcha.
there are dangerous jobs, but when it comes to something like this, doing work and putting in as much work as you would at any other job, and then it's so unsafe. It's so unsafe. All it takes is for someone to go out and do a mass flagging 3 times on your videos for something, getting them taken down, claiming them, saying that they're copyright, getting a copyright strike for no reason. Yeah, the system is made in favor of the person doing the copyright claim. So you can't, and in order to fight that, you have to send your personal information to that person. So you're doxing yourself at the same time. It's just ridiculous. It's such an unsafe system. And why am I putting up with it? Because it's easy. Brian, it's easy. God damn it, it's easy. Oh, it's making me so mad. It's my own fault, Brian. It's my own fault. Everyone listening, it's my own fault. I'm doing a lot of nagging. Yeah, it's my fault. I could just stop, but I don't.
Well, there's that other thing motivating you, right? Those people. And that's huge. I mean, I know your work is widely appreciated. I love it. I'm always checking to see what you think about something before I take the plunge. And if something new comes out and you've got your take on it, I want to see what you think. I know that you are knowledgeable about this and giving your heart and soul into it, and it's become a place you can be trusted. People trust you for.
Yeah, that's another thing that is, when we speak about the trust thing. I mean, I've had a few instances over years where I've gotten like emails or private messages, DMs, or sometimes I get open comments about people questioning whether they can trust me or not. Because when it comes to this, when you do it as a job, it becomes a money game. It's all about numbers and money and shit like that. And it's very hard, because I don't really, when I think about it, I don't really understand it, because this is about commerce. What we do is about commerce.
Yeah.
I'm showing you an app, telling you about it, so you can decide whether to buy it or not. Mm-hmm. You're going to spend money on this or not. Something like that, right? It's not like you're watching it just for the watch. I mean, some people do that, sure, but you're a musician, you need tools. You want to know if a synth is good or not. You want to know if a drum machine is good or not. You want to know how to produce in maybe on a platform and how that is versus producing in another platform. You want to see comparison on that. It's business in the end.
Right.
And so why are you going to get angry at me for wanting to get paid for doing something? I can understand that, sure. You can tell me that, hey, you're colored by the fact that you're being paid for this, so you're going to say that this is good. But if you really watch my videos, you're going to see me say, I don't like this and I like that. Now, that's not being positively biased or negatively biased. That's just me being clean about stuff.
Right.
Even if I get paid, I'm still going to do that. I'm not going to take a job if the company tells me I can't say something. And that's why I'm fucking poor, because I'm turning down jobs from a lot of... Okay, I need to be careful. So I'm turning down jobs because they will sometimes tell me, don't tell them that this is a sponsored video, Jakob. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, fuck off. And they'll say, don't say this. If you find this negative, try not to mention it. Yeah. And I'll say, go away. And that's why I'm poor. It's bad business practice. If you want to make money, don't do it like Jakob. Be dishonest. If you want to make money, be dishonest. Because a lot of companies will say that. But then again, some companies will say, hey, we want you. We want you to do you. Just do you. And we'll still pay you. And I'm okay with that. It's just that I haven't gotten deals like that. Yet,
Well, don't you think that that sort of integrity, though, that's kind of like playing the long game? Like, yeah, you could make the quick buck and, say, oh, this app's great. There's nothing wrong with this one. You'll love it. But that's going to damage your overall image and your reputation. Whereas if you've put together now many years of videos and content with an honest perspective, I think that starts to add up. And, like the old expression, it takes a long time to build trust, and then it takes or an instant to destroy trust.
yeah, especially on the internet, because I mean, God, it's easy to form opinions or tell opinions, but it's hard to get the facts through, the real facts about things. So I need to be careful about anything. And the problem with this YouTube thing is that unless I tell people that this is how I do stuff, they're not gonna know. They're not gonna know. How could I ever expect them to know this? Of course they couldn't. They don't know me. They don't sit with me and have coffee with me every day. They're people over in Thailand or in the US or the UK or Canada or Switzerland or Germany. They're people over doing, like, they're sitting watching a video. They don't know me. Of course they can't know unless I say that. That's why I've made videos like that. I've made videos where I've talked about that.
Yeah.
And still I get these people saying stuff like, when I made I made these really big pocket operator videos. They took me months to make, constantly working on them, 16 hours a day. 2 months. I worked on them for 2 months. They're the biggest videos I have. I think they have, like, they're the videos with the most views or something. So it was a success for my channel. It was a pure success because I got a really high rating thanks of that. And the thing is, I lost 5 Patreons when I released that video. The first one, the PO33 one, I think. I lost 5 patrons. And a few of them wrote down, like, you can put a comment when you end your patronage.
Yeah.
They wrote that was sponsored.
Oh.
And the thing is, Teenage Engineering didn't pay me shit. They never asked me to do a video for them. They said, hey, Jakob, we've got two new pocket operators here. Do you want to be one of the bug testing teams? I didn't ask them for money. I mean, it's a work to do that, to bug test. It's a fucking job when you do it as properly as I do it, or maybe Tim Webb or someone else. So it's a job, but I did that for free. I'm in very good standing with Teenage Engineering. I love their stuff, and that's why I promote their stuff, okay? So they haven't paid me ever to do a video. And they didn't pay me for that one. What I did get in the end, I did get to keep the pocket operator, but that was never spoken about at the beginning either. I thought I was borrowing the unit like as I've done before. I've had several of their pocket operators before, and I've had to return some. So never paid. And I have these people, they're my patrons, they're giving me $1 a month, and they're angry at me now for putting out this video, and they didn't even ask me if I was sponsored or nothing. But that's the thing, it's like an infected thing, you know? As soon as you're getting paid for someone, people are immediately thinking, jumping to the conclusion that you're going to be dishonest about everything. I don't understand how that works, because we're in a world of business. Yeah. You pay money for apps and hardware. Fuck, you buy a synthesizer for $1,000, that's a lot of money. And you're watching a video about it from someone, and then you get angry at that person being sponsored by the company making that synthesizer. Why? Why not ask that person about it? Like, if you really want to know how jaded that person is about something, you know, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. That's the way of the internet, I guess.
Well, there's definitely sometimes, anyway, a blurry line where you're not sure if you're watching promotional material or you're watching someone's genuine opinion, or if it's made to look like someone's genuine opinion, but it's actually just some commercial disguised. I think that does go on, and it can be hard to know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So, I always appreciate it when it's like kind of explicitly said that this is a sponsored thing. It's like when you watch a movie and they're drinking Coca-Cola in it, like it's this subtle, like snuck in, like advertisement that we see a lot these days. I'll tell you what, though, in an interesting turn for me, because when I was growing up, in the 90s, I'm 38, so we're about the same age, it was so anti-commercial, so rebellious, and selling out was a thing. This band sold out, they're just trying to make the hits. They're not making art anymore. But with the kids today, they don't know that term, selling out. It's not in their vocabulary. And in fact, they have no problem with what I would call selling out. They think, you got to make your money. So let Drake come on in his video with his Coca-Cola and be all refreshed, drinking it. They don't care. They are fine with it. So I'm wondering if like some of this, and I imagine like your Patreons probably aren't kids in high school because they don't have money to spend and spare. I wonder if as we get into the future, that kind of notion is not really a thing anymore. This idea of selling out and, being like a shill for some cause or company where it's just, no, that's what we got to do. That's how we make our money. I've seen that the change is like pretty clear for me because I feel so weird around them sometimes. I feel so different from high school students. But this idea of like rebelling against the commercialism is not there with them at all. In fact, they like really celebrate it in a lot of ways, where they're happy to see like their favorite stars, throwing money around and buying things for the sole reason that it's expensive, just to show that they have the money, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you. I haven't been able to travel and visit schools around the world. I haven't done that, but I do see what's on the internets, if we say that. I know it's not right to say internets, but it's just the way I choose to say it. So I see it. I see that trend you're talking about. I see it. I definitely see it. And I might be thinking, hey, Drake, you're a fucking sellout. But at the same time, I get it. You need to make money. Now, I'm not asking for a bathtub full of dollars to swim in. I just want to be able to pay my rent, pay my electrical bill, my water, my food, and then be able to save a little bit for my retirement, right? Because I'm 40 now, I'm gonna get older, and I don't want to live on the streets. That's gonna happen if I don't make more money right now. So I have to find ways of doing this, and I don't know. Maybe the new generation will have a different view on it, but then again, the new generation will be. I think that places like YouTube, as I told you before, I think they're gonna find ways of grabbing all that revenue for themselves, cutting everyone out, unless you're big enough. Mm-hmm. So I think it's gonna be a problem, even if they are more, if they're looking positive at, selling out or doing these commercials and stuff like that, even if they're positive towards that, maybe the options of doing that will be less, they'll have less options to do it. I don't know. I really can't say, but we're in a weird point of time right now, I think. It's kind of hard. It's getting harder to do stuff. Some other stuff is getting easier. I guess it's always been like that. It's just that I never thought I would be actually in this. I've always failed at so many things before, and my channel has been a success in the form that it's been welcomed by the community, and the way that I now I've been able to earn respect within the music industry and the developers of hardware and software applications and stuff like that. That's been a success, but economically it's been a failure. So yeah, I do this for you. Okay, listening. So don't get angry with me if you at some point start a video and I say this video has been sponsored by, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look for deals. For stuff that I like, that I can put my name on. I won't endorse something unless I like it. And don't be angry at me for doing it, because I need to feed myself. And I don't want to live on the street when I become, what do you call it? An old person, people, man.
I think that's a good approach to narrow it down to I mean, that's really what the image companies have always been trying to convey, that like, well, this celebrity uses Arm & Hammer deodorant, like, well, cool. I like, that celebrity, so I'm going to use what they use. But it's become like, no, they don't use it. They just got paid enough to say they use it. But if you're doing your advertising through like this, like really filtered way where you're only going to talk about things that you actually do endorse, then to me as a consumer, I don't mind that so much. I don't mind, like, for instance, when I listen to podcasts, I listen to like Joe Rogan's podcast, and he spends 10 minutes talking about the products he's endorsing because I know he believes in it, and I know he doesn't need to take an ad he doesn't believe in, with his audience and what he's doing. And there's like, I'll listen to that sometimes. Sometimes I skip through it, but sometimes he also brings a value to his sponsorship too, where it's interesting how he talks about it. And I think we can see that in a lot of like what's cool about like the sponsorship you might do or any of us could be doing is we can talk about the product like in a real way. It's not this like reading an ad sheet type of thing and you're saying exactly what the company wants to say. You can say, hey, I've been using this. I'm getting paid to say this, but I like it. Like, this is why I'm telling you. I think that's a really nice way to do the advertising that doesn't feel like you're being cheated or the normal trickery of marketing can sometimes have. Where I think that's maybe where our generation feels so negatively about it. Whereas maybe like when the current generation sees their favorite YouTuber be like, yo, I love this thing. I just got, check it out. And there's an actual excitement that's genuine.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, okay, so I've broken the YouTube TOS once. They've taken down a video. I'm not going to do it again. And I haven't so far with the products I show. And I've gotten a few stuff, like I've gotten something sent to me from a company in the past. They don't ask me to do a video on it, but whenever I've received something in that video, you can see that I'm telling they sent this to me. They provided me this. Yeah. Okay, so they're still not paying me, but you could view it as a payment with the actual thing. But it's always like they send it without any like no strings attached. Sure. You don't have to. But I'm always very careful with that because it's also in the TOS. You have to be clear. You have to be clear. You have to tell people if you're doing an ad or not. You have to. So I won't be breaking it. I'll be telling you. And I don't care if you think I'm a sellout in that case. Yeah, well, because right now I just want to feed myself. I want to feed myself, but the deals have to be something I like. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, why would I waste? I don't like wasting time on stuff I don't like. Why would I do that? It's just insane. Okay, so I just want to shout out the name of the channel. That new channel where people can, it's newly started, so I know nothing about it. Mm-hmm. I do not endorse it at all.
This is because I know nothing. Service.
It's started by a woman who got censored. They say censored, who got shut down by YouTube because she was showing herself half naked and she couldn't monetize her videos. And she started this. It's called Cocoscope. COCOSCOPE. So Cocoscope. You write it together. Go check it out. I know nothing about it. I don't endorse it. You can monetize your videos there. It says. And stuff like that. So it's supposed to work like YouTube. It doesn't have any viewers yet. Doesn't have a big community yet. But who knows?
Who knows?
Just know that don't have your kids in the room when you start browsing there, because I found some really. Oh, God, I'm not saying everything is like that, but a lot of it is.
Well, there is the catch when we allow everything through. When we have a free and open internet, for instance, free speech is like kind of not free, I guess, in that you then have to listen to everyone's free speech. That's the price you pay. And you can understand a company like YouTube keeping that kind of material out because they don't want to limit their audience. It's just like, I mean, for instance, like my wife has a gaming store where they play board games, Dungeons and Dragons and things, and they don't sell alcohol there because that cuts out all the youth. Although for some customers it would probably be like a nice touch, have a couple beers with your buddies and play your D&D. and
Don't do it. Don't do it. I've done that. Been there. Done that in the past. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. You'll lose your level 13 mage instantly. You'll do some stupid shit. You'll try to hit
fantasy will become reality.
Hidden wall with your head and stuff like that. You'll break your neck and die. Don't do it.
But it's the weird price, we I guess as a society have to decide what we're willing to put up with in order to have the freedoms and the openness that maybe we think we want, until you realize just how free and open some people want to be.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't want my videos being screenshot together with some highly racist stuff or highly questionable nudity. That can't even be a phrase, right? I mean, what's that about?
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah,
and I'm the same way. I mean, I'm careful about what I do, in that I do teach high school, so I got to sort of maintain some sort of reputation a little bit, where I try to keep things clean and positive and not delve into the negativity or filth or whatever. Even though when I go to my job, it's where I hear from the kids. You usually hear the worst language of the day. So even though
I can imagine,
I think I'm the one that needs to be protected from that sort of stuff. But I guess it's like the role model thing, I get it.
Yeah,
it's a responsibility on some level.
Yeah.
And
it is.
I can see that for you too, because I'm sure you've got people of all ages checking out your work to find out how to do things, and you don't want to limit that.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good sense of the age group that watches my video. And if you look at my channel, at my statistics, then most of the people watching the app videos are from 35 and up to 65. Mm-hmm. So it's almost even. It's a very even group. And then when you look at stuff like the pocket operator videos, it will go from, the young ages up to the 35 age. Uh-huh. So on my channel, those different types of contents combined, I've got this really steady viewing that's cool. age. But when it comes to apps, they're mostly mature people like you and I, middle-aged, some above, some below, basically. So I know that a lot of my viewers get a lot of things. They do get, they have the same, we have the same mindset, basically, when it comes to this. Creative people, creative middle-aged people, maybe, basically. So, I mean, I'm afraid to even swear on my channel. I'll say shit. I'll say crap, right? And I'll bleep myself out when I say fuck. But seriously, the way I talk on a daily basis, people would be really shocked. I'm holding back now. Even I'm a very foul-mouthed person.
Well, hey, I think there's a place for that. Some emphasis. Sometimes it adds to the humor. So it's,
Maybe I should start a channel, Cocoscope.
Yeah, the no holds barred Haq Attaq, the real attack.
I'll call it Whack Attack.
Yeah.
I'll just call it Whack Attaq, and I'll be doing the same stuff I do on my channel, only worse, much worse.
Well, I've seen that on your channel, the bleeps and the stuff, and it's fun. You've managed to work with some of those, I guess, constraints in a fun way that makes it more entertaining and enjoyable to watch in that way.
Yeah, but it's I do get it. I mean, I do get why you wouldn't swear every second word, because a lot of viewers would just get annoyed. I mean, you want to hear proper language. I get it. I get it. But not to be able to use the occasional fuck, when sometimes the word fuck is just perfect for some things. Right. This, like the dongle ish. I have 2 dongles in my phone right now. 2. and there's several different wires connected to it. So there's like a nest of 5 wires going to my phone right now, and that's fucked. It looks fucked up, perfectly fucked up. I just hate it, but it works. You're reading me, right?
Yeah, yeah. I see you. I hear you. We're doing the job.
That's great. That's great. It's gonna be a mess cleaning up afterwards. It always is, and it's always like nervous. Will this work? Will this work in the end? I mean, we've been going on for like 1.5 hours or something, and it's still working. And usually I get connection errors. I'm running like an Ethernet connection to my phone right now.
Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, I have a video on it. So if anyone wants to know.
That's cool. Yeah, you've got a video on almost everything you can imagine, which is awesome. Anything iOS related, very cool. What's going on next? So it does sound a little bit like you're at some sort of crossroads here. What do you got? Anything you talk about? Anything you're thinking about? Any future plans?
Yeah, future plans is sorry. Future plans includes finding more jobs that aren't related to YouTube. So that's something I have to increase now because it's gone to that level. We're reaching 2019. I can't have another year like this. Can't. I'll go under. So I need to do that. And then I also want to focus on my content in such a way that there are some documentaries I would like to do that I've been planning to do for several years now. And I want to do, I want to feel relaxed enough to actually take some time away from YouTube to do those things, because I know that they would become so good in the end, and they would cater to a lot more people than just my own audience, because it's going to be more wide-spanning, going into certain areas, interviewing more people, actually going to other places and doing it. Right. And I want to deal with synthesis, I want to deal with modular synthesis, and I want to deal with sound engineering and recording studios and stuff like that. I know I could do a good job. And I don't want this to turn into a Kickstarter project. I don't want to do that. I want to do this with the means I have, with the phone I have, with the iPad I have, to do a really, really good job. And then I realized maybe I want to do it so good that I could sell it into something like Netflix. Okay? And in that case, I can't be using the iPhone I have. I have to get a better phone where I can actually film so that the quality will be big enough for something like Netflix. So that's something I'm going to think about a lot this coming year. That's definitely something I'm going to think about. When it comes to the content, I'm going to keep on doing what I've been keeping on doing. So I'm going to be looking at apps, being very selective with the app, because since I'm doing less videos now and more quality content, I have to be selective. I have to choose the right apps, and I have to be selective with my time. So I'm going to keep doing app videos. I'm going to keep trying to do these really in-depth tutorials and reviews together with the interviews, because people really seem to like them. I'm also going to be planning for my next album, because I'm finishing one now. And the next album is going to be an electronic, more EDM album. So that's something I'm going to be producing for the next year. So that's basically it. But when it comes to my channel, it's gonna look like it has the past few months. And so I'm just gonna keep doing that. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have to do all these other things I mentioned, because I need to pay my bills, and I want to do these documentaries. I really do. I've been wanting to do documentaries for a long time, but I feel I have the skill sets now and the knowledge in order to produce documentaries. Yeah. So
I believe that.
It would be awesome. My next big dream is just ending up with a documentary on Netflix. Seriously. That would be like awesome. Freakishly awesome.
Yeah. I'd like to see it. I'd watch it. I mean, your chops with editing videos is awesome. I mean, they're really great. And it keeps your attention. There's never a dull moment without it feeling too. Sometimes the videos on YouTube, especially with the jump cuts, where no one breathes anymore. They just cut out every little breath. Like, you've got you've managed to do it with still like seeming like an actual person, which is
Yeah,
cool.
it was worse. If you go back, Brian, and check my earlier work, it was horrible. I can't even watch some of my own videos because the jump cuts are sick. It's like, breathe, dude. It's been 5 minutes. You haven't taken a breath yet. So I know what you mean. Thank you for telling me, because I'm always worried that I'm not leaving enough space. You know. That it's going too fast, because my videos are pretty condensed with information,
Yeah.
and I don't want to bore my viewers. So I try to I try to make my pauses musical. So it will be music made with the app or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the pause. So it breaks up the monotony from listening to my voice, which can get annoying at times.
Well, I think you're doing a nice job. Let me ask you, then maybe we'll kind of wrap this up after this.
Yeah.
How do you work into your schedule making music? So this is something I struggle with a lot myself, because there's a variety of things that I like to do. I like to put out and be regular. Like, obviously, regularity is such a huge part of anything that you're doing these days. Music making is often the thing that gets pushed off to the side, and sometimes I have these moments late at night where I say I talk about making music so much more than I actually make it. I'm making tools for making music, but I'm not making music. And you know, I'm teaching it, but I haven't made it in a while, and it's you get that like imposter syndrome feeling. How are you maintaining that? You put out a great video recently. I think you called it like my best work, and it was just music, and it was nice to see.
Yeah, that's from my mellow album that I've been working on for this past year now. It's taken a year, and I just finished the 9th song. I'm working on a video for that, and it's gonna be 10 songs. And when that's done, it's gonna go up on iTunes and everything. You know, all of the places, Pandora, whatever. The thing is, the year before, I was interviewed by Martin Kozolko, a guy that interviewed me here in Stockholm in a hotel suite. And he asked me, like, do you do albums anymore? Do you work on music? And I'm like, no, because all of the time is being taken up with videos. So if I take time to do music, it's going to take time out of my videos. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So you have a timeline, and every pixel of that timeline is filled with something you need to do. And so where do I put my music making when it's not calculated in here? I don't. That's why I don't make music. That's why I didn't make music. Because if I take bits out of it, then there's going to leave spaces for the videos. There's not going to be any videos there, right? It's going to take longer.
Right.
And so I had to get comfortable with that first. Number one, I had to get comfortable with that concept of making less videos. Okay, that took 3 years. And then I had to get my skills to a point where everything I do with every video goes faster to do. Find faster ways of doing it. And instead of filling in that now newfound time, because I'm doing something faster now, I now have space over. I don't fill it in with extra stuff to do. I take that time and I put that into my music box.
Gotcha.
So yeah, what I had to do was to take bits out. So get quicker at what I do, get faster at what I do, remove some elements I don't have to do, make space. I have to get this into my workflow. Because that's the problem. When I make music for me. I'm not doing it for my viewers. And since my channel and everything I do and have been doing for the past 4 years have been driven by me wanting to do something for someone else, suddenly I'm in a spot where, oh God, I gotta take time away from that, from the things I'm doing for someone else to do something for me. That's why I say it took 3 years for me to get that concept in my head and get like acquainted with it, basically. So make spots for yourself, Brian. You have to make spots for yourself. You're filling up your timeline right now. All of your bits are full. So where can you take bits out? What have you learned up to now, to anyone listening, what have you learned up to now that makes some things that used to take you an hour to do before, takes 10 minutes now, In my case, it has been like that. Thanks to some app changes and stuff, some of the video work I do can take 10 minutes now, and it used to take an hour in the past. That's 50 minutes over I have for something else. So I'll fill in 20 minutes of it with more video work, and then the half hour goes to music. And suddenly I have an entire day I can do music with. And so that's what I do. That's how I do it. I make spaces. I pull out bits.
Do you abide by like a schedule, any kind of work schedule? Like is Monday music day, Tuesday video? Is there maybe parts of the day you divide up? Are you strict like that at all, or do you just kind of?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I don't even know what date it is most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'll know the time, the specific time.
Right.
I can know that without a watch. I have that in my head. I still get things wrong, like time zones and stuff. That's why I missed you last week. But I know the time. I'll know it's gone 1.5 hours or 140 minutes, like it does now, or something like that. I know about that. But days, like names of days, months, completely gone. Completely gone. I'll keep on writing 2018 in January and February when it's turned into 2019. And my significant other, my beautiful, lovely Sophia, she will come in and say, Jakob, you're a dick. What are you doing? It's 2019. Why are you still writing 2018 here? She's gonna have to do that for months before I get it. I don't care. I don't care what day it is or anything. So no, I don't have that schedule. I just know that when I wake up, I need to get going. If I don't get going within the first hour, the entire day is going to be lost into nothing. So my schedule is start something. So it could be video work, it could be music work. It's usually research first and app testing. And then, depending on how long that take, like I'll write scripts or something. If that takes 4 hours, then I'll eat something quickly or eat while I'm working and writing some more. And then I'll go into video work. And that can be me sitting and recording narration, or me sitting and editing the narration recorded from the day before, or editing the videos. But there's no strict schedule. I can start a morning, if I have the footage on my phone, I can start editing a few bits on my phone when I wake up in bed because I got a headache or something. You know, I didn't sleep that well. I'll just work a little bit in bed, and then I'll go to the shitter and I'll do some more work. Not in the shitter, but afterwards. There's no schedule, really.
The point is,
I just do.
You get started.
Yeah,
like you said earlier.
Yeah,
get started. Just get started. And you know what? That's such good advice, and that's often the hardest part in just about everything is just the getting started, the taking the first step. I've found a few ways to trick myself into it. I'll maybe just say, well, I'm just going to spend 5 minutes editing this, and like, you can't edit anything in 5 minutes. So you can't. But the thing is, usually by the time those 5 minutes are up, now I'm in that zone and I'm doing it, and I'm okay. Now I'm willing to put in some time, but sometimes I have to trick myself. I do it with exercise too. All right, I'm just going to do like just a couple push-ups here. And then by the time I do that, I'm like, all right, I feel kind of good now. And now let's add to it. Let's, that it's a trick I use a lot, is to kind of tell myself I'm not going to spend as much time as I secretly hope to.
I got to ask you, Brian, are you like a, I don't know how to say that in English, but in Swedish we say tidsoptimist. It means optimistic about time.
Optimistic about time. That's cool.
You always think you have more time than you actually have, or you think that stuff will take a certain amount of time, but you're always wrong about that. My girlfriend is like that.
I think both. I've been on this kick of reminding myself that people like, all the greats, Einstein, all the greats that you and anybody, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So why are these people able to do so much more? Why is this happening here and there? Like, I don't have an excuse. I get the same amount of time. It's just managing it. So a lot of things I do, I think will happen real quick, and it winds up taking way longer. That's probably more common. And a lot of things, really aren't so bad once you just do them. I think of like laundry, for instance, is always like one of those things in my life. I spend way longer worrying about my laundry and finding ways around doing my laundry than it would take me to just do the damn laundry. So like folding it is really the big part. I you have no idea how often I pull my laundry right out of the dryer. You know? And it's like that extra step. It's like looking around, where are my socks? Where are my, oh yeah, there. If I would just do it, I would save a lot of time. So,
Yeah, that's I'm guilty of that too.
there's
With
a
the
lot of
laundry.
things like that.
Yeah, luckily we have like some sort of unspoken agreement, me and my girlfriend here, because she'll do the laundry, and she does it because it makes her feel good, like she's doing something, yeah, and that's good. So I don't have to, but I have to do the dishes. If I don't, I feel bad the rest of the day. So doing the dishes, that's when I get to listen to your podcasts. That's when I get to listen to podcasts. I sometimes just listen to some YouTube videos, and I'll do the dishes. And it's like a almost like a zone. You get into a zone, and I can just do it, and my arms remember everything, and I feel like I'm on top of the world when I'm doing the dishes, and I'm able to relax and just listen to a podcast or anything, and suddenly I do lose track of time. It's basically the only time I lose track of time. Only time is when I'm doing the dishes. So it's kind of like free time for me. I let a little bit of the world in through a podcast, and then I'll do the dishes, and I do something good at the same time, so we can eat clean dishes. But laundry, folding, what are you talking about? I'll just roll it up into a ball.
Yeah.
I'll roll it up into a ball and throw it in. It gets straight when you wear it. It gets straight. All the wrinkles will just straighten right out. Just spray it a little bit with water, and then just do a little jogging on the spot there. You'll get warm, and all those wrinkles will just go away.
Get that little exercise too.
Nice. See, it's an all-in-one.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a good point. Like finding things that you can sort of. I mean, I know we've scientifically proven we're not good multitaskers, but there are certain things you can kind of do, like you said, like the dishes, and then you're listening to your stuff. It's a good way.
Yeah. The thing with the multitasking, I mean, don't we do that all the time? Especially us creative people. We multitask all the time. All the time. I mean, it's like when you're doing. Do you ever play live music, Ryan?
Yeah.
Exactly. How is that not multitasking? You have to have a presence with people. You have to play at the same time and predict all of the patterns and move. And there's so many things you're doing. That is multitasking, if anything. And it's happening almost automatically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of layers to all these things. Yeah. Well, listen, man, it's been awesome talking to you. Lots of good. We covered all kinds of crazy stuff today. Stuff I didn't know we were going to get into.
Yeah,
But,
and I'm like, oh my God, I've said so many things. There's like a whole part where I'm just angry.
Yeah, well, I think you have legitimate concerns. They're not unfounded, and it's something that I think a lot of us should question and wonder about, and maybe not just take things as they come. And it maybe, as I think you make an interesting point, like there's definitely, like people that are, we can all be like this, where we sort of just tell people, oh, well, just do it this way and you'll be fine. Stop complaining. But, if we keep following that road, where does it take us?
Yeah, so, it's true. You're right.
It's important. And I think, it lends, for me anyway, it lends a nice perspective to what you do, and it really only just makes what you do seem even more important and more valuable, as that it requires you to deal with a lot of these other issues that aren't apparent when you're watching the 15-minute video that took all week, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate your openness about it.
I agree with you. I'm just going to check so it's still recording here. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm always nervous when I'm doing it with iOS. You never know.
Yeah. Is there
Might nudge the connector and it breaks.
right? Is there anything else you want to like throw out there? Any place you want to send people, or before we part ways, leave people with any thoughts?
Yeah, sure. You could always go to my channel and check my stuff. Subscribe if you find something that you like. I basically I forgot what I was gonna say. So it's basically youtube.com Jakob Haq. My name spelled like that. Are you like you can? Are you gonna link to it?
Oh yeah,
on,
show notes
on the page.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Just
Certain
check
videos
the
too
links out
that we spoke about.
over at Brian's blog here. Sorry, I was gonna say something, but I completely lost it. I want to say thank you for doing this, for having me on the show, Brian.
Oh, thank you.
I've been looking forward, and I've been trying to find a way to like contact you about stuff, but I didn't know how to approach you. I'm always afraid to look desperate. You know, since I'm a YouTuber, I'm always afraid to look desperate to be featured on someone's pod or blog or channel or something like that. I don't want to look like that. I just wanted to have a chat with you, basically. And it's weird when you don't know someone to just say, "Hey, I'm this guy. I just want to chat with you." And I'm like, that's just gonna look weird. It's just gonna. So I'm so happy that you contacted me.
Well, I think a lot of us, we're in the same world, right? I mean, I've known about your work forever, and maybe it is through Tim Webb. I don't know, but somewhere along the line, I've been following you pretty much, I'm sure, for about 4 years. We're in the same world, and I find that a lot where I'll kind of blindly reach out to someone and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know you," or they blindly reach out to me. And I'm like, "Of course I know who you are. What, are you kidding me?" Like,
yeah, that's the thing. I knew who you were before that. I've seen your stuff for a long time. So
the podcast has been.
It feels it's a special thing. This is a special thing for me. So thank you for that.
Me too. Me too. I enjoy it so much, and it's great talking to you. And the podcast has been a nice thing like that. I'm sure you get the same thing when you interview the developers. Just the chance to, it's an excuse, right? To talk. Like if I maybe just said, "Hey, can I give you a call?" You might be like, "What?" You know, that'd be a little weird. But the fact that this like sort of is a built-in excuse to just sit down and have a conversation, it's great. I love it. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome to call me whenever, Brian. If you have any ideas about anything, collabs or whatever, you just
cool. Same here.
Just holler at me, and I'm always up for it.
Sure, yeah, me too. Likewise, anything I can do, because I love your work, and I'm happy to support it. And I think anyone that's doing anything iOS related or even portable music related now, because you've got some of the cool stuff with the teenage engineering stuff, and I think you said the Volcas too. So you got to go see Haq Attaq. Is that the I'm looking at my YouTube right now, and it's telling me that your channel is like a whole 700 different letters. What would be the actual URL? YouTube.com.
The URL is my name, Jakob Haq. Okay. So if you go to youtube.com, YouTube. Don't go to youtube.com. Don't go there. I've made mistakes like that in the past. So youtube.com / Jakob Haq. So it's JAKKOB, not double K, KOBHA. Oh my God, I'm making a mess out of this, man.
JAKOBHAQ.
Exactly. There you go. A lot of people will misspell it with a C, and sometimes, the autocorrect will do that for you too, but it's a K, Jacob with a K.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and thank everyone who has been listening. If you're still here, God, what you had to go through with me talking so much. Pretty amazing people you have listening to this
It's really
podcast.
Nice to get that perspective from you and to understand what it takes. And your hard work is not unappreciated. I can tell you that. I know you mentioned a few times you get some rough comments, but I know just from my own viewing of your videos, you got a lot of love too. And I think that really outweighs it. And that's, I guess, what you were talking about earlier, that extra motivation through other people. It's a great way to avoid putting things off.
Yeah.
Cool.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so we'll say goodbye to everybody then.
Yeah, bye bye.
Okay, take care, everyone. Thanks for listening.